Hi, my name is Igor Kafetz, and this is The List Building Lifestyle, the only podcast which delivers cutting-edge conversion strategies from the online trenches straight to your earbuds. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. I also invite you to grab a free copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. And now, once again, it's time to claim your list building lifestyle. Welcome back to another edition of the List Building Lifestyle with your host, Igor Kafetz. You can be the best marketer, copywriter, salesman, or woman in the world. But fact is, most people who come across your opportunity will dilly-dally their buying decisions. They will sit on that proverbial fence for as long as they possibly can. They will grab onto anything, to any reason why they can't buy right now, be it the time, be it the money, be it the expertise, be it your lack of case studies. It can be anything. They will use it as an excuse not to buy. And that is exactly why you need to follow up. And as we've chatted about in one of the previous episodes, email is the best way to follow up with your potential customers. Email is by far the number one best way to engage your customers, to engage your prospects, and to get them to vote with their wallet, so to speak. If you're looking to get people to whip out their credit cards and open their pockets, open their checkbooks, open their hearts to you, email is the medium you have to use in order to do that. Now, that is not something that you don't know. Obviously, you've been listening to this show. You're a citizen of Planet Igor. I talk about email follow-up a lot. And of course, the show is called The List Building Lifestyle, not a fan page lifestyle. So there's no confusion, right? There's no two ways to go about it. Email follow-up is the way to go. And we've chatted about this. However, what we didn't chat about is how most experts, the typical experts, recommend to mail several times a week. Now, why do they do that? Why several times a week at most, but, and even as rare as once a week? Well, because they're afraid to piss people off. They genuinely believe that by emailing their list, they're going to annoy people, that they're already getting too much email anyway, and that the best way to win potential customers over is to send them an occasional blog post or video or some sort of content that either demonstrates value or positions you as a trusted advisor in the form of, again, giving value to them pro bono, right? Without any charges, without asking anything in return. Now, of course, what this does, it accomplishes two things. Because you're sending them quote unquote value and hard teaching them because you're trying to impress them, you're actually doing the exact opposite and you're making them hate you. Not on the level where they, hate you like the dog hates the cat. I'm talking about not giving you the proper respect and not wanting to invest with you because of the supplicative dynamic that you create as a result of giving them content pro bono. Now, the other thing that happens is because you don't follow up with them every day or even several times a day, and you only do it several times a week or maybe once a week, they forget about you. They don't feel that you're important enough to be remembered. They don't feel you have important things to say because you email them so rarely. And while you delay mailing them every day, someone else does. And they basically get distracted and their attention is being pulled into a whole other direction because of that. So lack of emails, lack of mailing, lack of consistency, lack of constant hammering, making sure you're always in their face or in their inbox, not doing that is getting you in trouble. It's basically making your list kind of useless. Now, there are problems with that. I see people, they can't hop over this barrier of making themselves email every day, or at the very least every other day. I mean, just something like increase, whatever the frequency is, double it right now, and you'll see that your list will respond positively to it as long as you do it the right way. Now, what is the right way to mail? I mean, this is a good question because a lot of times people talk about giving value. That's pretty much all the advice you get about emails. Like give them value, send them useful content. But that's not how you build a relationship. That's definitely not how you build a relationship, the kind of relationship that gets you paid. That's the way you build a relationship that actually gets you lots of praise but doesn't get you paid. It's how you turn yourself into a know-it-all that basically never gets the sale versus you wanting to be somebody who gets many sales and doesn't have to work for free. So if you want to build a relationship while emailing your list every day and making lots of money, there is a way to do that. There's a very specific strategy to email your list. Now, there's three things you need to do, three things you need to be talking about in your emails. And as long as you email them every day and every email talks either about one of these things or all three of them, you will be just fine. The first thing is their problems. You can never bore anyone if you talk to them about their problems, if you talk to them about the things that are on their mind, and if these things really make them uncomfortable. If I have a problem about my child wetting their bed, right, that's all I think about. If you talk to me about that, if you just talk to me, describe the problem to me, I am listening. I'm listening because I know you understand what I'm going through, and I want to be understood. As a prospect, as a potential client, the number one need that I have, the number one thing that I expect from you is to show me that you understand what I'm going through. The moment you can do that, the moment you can show me you understand my problems, you understand my feelings, you understand my frustrations, you understand my concerns, that's the moment when I tune everyone else out and I focus on you and your market. Now, the other thing you need to do, the other thing you want to talk about in your emails is their deepest desires. Okay, if you talk to me, if I'm your prospect, and if I want to learn how to invest in real estate, you need to figure out what is the reason behind my desire to invest in real estate. Is it to build a legacy for my kids so they don't have to work when they grow up? Is it to protect my money against, inflation? Maybe that's the case. Maybe I'm just afraid that my money is losing value while I'm busy making it, so I want to protect it by putting it into real estate. Maybe my motive is to get accepted into a social circle where you kind of have to have real estate to be taken seriously. Whatever the motive is, you need to figure out what my underlying reason is. You need to understand what is below the core of it all, below the surface, getting down to the very, very, very bottom of my desires. Like, you have to understand, you have to figure out, you have to find a way, be it by interviewing your prospects, be it by reading the books about your prospects, be it by, there's a great trick. You can go to Amazon, you can find books on the topic, and you can basically, just look at the chapters or read some stories. Like, you can find that information. It's available to you for free. Okay, you just have to invest the time for research. You will find out what is the true reason somebody wants to purchase your product. So if you're selling business opportunities, one of the first few reasons that comes to mind that's at the very core, the desire that is at the very core of it all for people who invest in business opportunities, first off, I want to make use of my free time. Even if the person has a job or has an income coming in, they must have some free time they can devote to this. And that is why they're going to the internet. That's how it is today. This is from the marketplace, right? I'm giving you actual knowledge from the marketplace that I acquired. So making use of free time that's being wasted is one reason. The other reason is this person must have read the 4-Hour Workweek and fell in love with the idea of the 4-Hour Workweek lifestyle. It has also been referred as the laptop lifestyle, the internet lifestyle. I call it the list building lifestyle, incidentally, because I have achieved the lifestyle through the list building as the primary tactic, list building and email marketing. So having that lifestyle is another thing. Just literally being able to brag to friends and family that, hey, I make 10 grand a month and I work less than 10 hours a week. That's a big one. Now, the other thing is just as important is the freedom. Now, the freedom, and I don't mean it in the form of a lifestyle. What I mean is not having to answer to anyone, not having to be under anyone's heel, if you will, not being dependent on a boss or anything like the government. Just being 100% self-sufficient, independent person that can basically call their own shots. That's what freedom is. Being able to determine, I wake up in the morning, do I work? Nah, I don't feel like it, so I don't work. Or maybe I do feel like working for the next 14 hours straight. I want to be able to make that decision for myself. I don't want someone else telling me that I'm working overtime today because they need me to. I want to be doing it on my own terms. Okay. And that's what freedom is. It's not always about the lifestyle. It's not always about retiring to the beach. A lot of times it is about doing more work, but doing it on their own terms. Also, another reason that you can address in your marketing, which is just as powerful, it is helping other people. Now, if you survey people who get into online business opportunities and you do like an anonymous survey where they don't have to reveal their identity, you'll notice that about 8 out of 10 people, besides mentioning the money that they want to make, they also say that they will use that money to help either their community or their family or their friends. Some will leave it for their children, grandchildren, but a lot of people will use the money to help their loved ones and friends and people in their community. It is just a fact, okay? I mean, nobody likes to think of themselves selfish. And if they make a lot of money, they have the mentality of saying, okay, I have enough. Now I would like to share it with the people who don't have enough, because it makes you feel really, really good. Especially if you hit a certain point in your financial development, if you hit a certain point in your business, you're making 10 or 20 grand a month, you'll notice that money no longer brings you the joy and excitement it used to. And you try to seek reasons where to put it. So that's the second thing you want to talk about. The first one is their problems. The second one is their deepest desires. Now, the third thing, and this is subtle, this is very subtle and very few people do this, which is why it still works really, really well. But, another reason it works actually is just psychology, really, just like the first two things. It's obstacles that keep them from overcoming these problems. So let's just say my problem is I work a job that I don't like. I don't feel like my life has any meaning whatsoever. I make okay money, maybe just under what I need to pay the bills, but I'm surviving. I can't do this anymore. That's my problem. So if I wanted to talk to this prospect through my email marketing, I'd probably talk about inability to find the free time necessary to start an internet business. Or maybe I'll talk about the inability to determine what is the first thing they need to do, like where to get started. Because what I discovered when I was working on my ultimate guide to solo-ads, which is still in production, the number one question I received about solo-ads and traffic generation from my customers was, Igor, what's the first thing I need to do to get started? So that seems to be a big problem. That's an obstacle. And if I talk about that obstacle in my emails, I always get a great response, because that is an obstacle that's on my customer's mind all the time. These are the three reasons: their problems, their deepest desires, and the obstacles that keep them from overcoming these problems and getting to the deepest desires. Now, once you talk about this stuff, it's really important to follow a formula, okay? A formula that allows you to basically pitch in every email. That's the formula that I use. So I either talk about a problem, or I either talk about the desire, or maybe I talk about the obstacle. But whatever the case may be, towards the end of that email, the last 20% of the email, I always sell my product. Now, it can be either the exact same product I sold yesterday. It can be something that I've been selling every single day for the last 12 months. Or it can be a brand new product. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it is positioned as a solution or as the next natural step forward from where the prospect is right now in their mind. So if I'm talking about the problem of not knowing where to start to make money from home, then the solution I will pitch at the last 20% of my email is going to be a 10-minute trick or a 30-minute training or something about a proven formula or a proven blueprint or a scientific approach or whatever to getting started online, to making, $5,000 per month online, etc. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is because anything that's a system, a blueprint, an approach, a ready-made thing that's been figured out before you, that is how you address the concern of not knowing where to get started. That's why people buy systems in our marketplace. Because systems imply that you do not need to think about anything. You just have to come in and follow the steps from A to Z, because that's how we have been conditioned to learn since we were in school, since we were kids, right? We come in at the first grade and we make it all the way till graduation. And we rely on the system to give us the steps necessary to tell us what we need to do next. That's how we learned to learn. And that's how most people prefer to be served with this information and to be served with this education. So to go over what we've talked about today. First off, most people will not buy right away. I don't care how good of a salesman or a woman you are. Just effect. That is why you have to follow up, and the email is the best way to do it. And the typical advice you get, give them some value once a week. Not true, doesn't work, don't listen to this advice. What you need to do instead is you need to email them every day and sell in every email. And in your emails, you need to discuss three things: their problems, their deepest desires, and the obstacles that keep them from overcoming the problems and getting towards their deepest desires. And once you've done that in your email, you use the last 20% of your email to pitch a solution, because at that point, they're mentally and emotionally ready to examine it, to check it out, and to consider it as the solution to their problems. So this pretty much sums up the blueprint to creating a relationship, making money, and mailing every day. Until next time we chat, have a good one. Thank you for listening to the List Building Lifestyle. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes or Google Play to never miss an episode. Because who knows, just one conversion tactic we share in the show might double your list and double your business. Download the transcript of today's episode and all future episodes at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com. And don't forget to claim your complimentary copy of the Wealthy List Builder Survival Guide at listbuildinglifestyleshow.com/survival. This is Igor Kafetz, and until next time we talk, have a good one.